Hello, good afternoon. My name is Małgorzata Kurzępa. I'm a founder and director of Fairhouse Investments, the company which invests in properties in UK for over 8 years and 10 years altogether. Every Sunday early afternoon, I'm coming to you with another subject connected to investing in properties. And today I wanted to tell you a little bit about investing off plan. There are people who are very positive about investing off plan. There are others who are strongly against it. So, I think it's like all other strategies. It's something worth to consider because I know people who stay away from this kind of strategy, and I'm actually one of them. But I also have some friends, investors, who are very successful in this using this strategy. And I completely agree with them that it could be a great opportunity, especially if there is a growing market, which is the must for being successful in buying off plan. What off plan means? It means that we buy the property before its construction is completed. And remember that it could take months or even years. It depends how advanced the project is when you join. Under which circumstances the off-plan property would be successful. As I said, it must be purchased on a growing market, because if the market is overheated, there is a high risk of crash, and if the market is going down, there is no point to buy and wait until the prices will drop. So, why developers offer properties off plan? So first of all, it could help create a cash flow for the developer. Remember that developer, when they get our 10% deposit for off-plan property, the deposit is protected on the client's account, so they don't have a direct access to this particular money, but it makes them look better in an eyes of investors or lenders, because it means that they are building something valuable, which is comparatively easy to sell and probably would be sell soon completely. Second thing, they lower the later risk for the later stage of development, because remember, the worst thing for developer is when the project is complete and he still have some flats to sell. So the ideal situation is when all the flats are sold before the project is completed. And the third thing is that when they sell off-plan flats, they create demand. The potential investors, like people like me who wants to buy one of these flats, they look at the development, they look how it's growing, and they see that other peoples are buying. So they they have the idea in their mind that this is something attractive and worth to pay for. How the entire process looks like. First of all, when you decide to buy off-plan property, of course you have to find it, you have to be sure that your finance are in place, and you have to do your own research. But first of all, you pay the reservation fee, which is usually 1, 2, could be even £5,000. Later, it would be deducted from the main deposit. Then you pay 10% of deposit. Again, the developer could expect higher or lower, but usually I think 10% is the minimum. They could expect rather higher deposit, but be careful and rather do not pay more than 10%. I will tell you later why. Next, in 28 days, you exchange the contracts. And remember, from the moment when you exchange the contracts, you are obligated to purchase the property. So whatever happens, as long as the property is completed, you have to buy it. Next, of course, the entire development process is going on, and when the building is completed, then developer serves notice to complete, and then you have to pay the rest of the money, which is 90% of the value of the property. And you are the owner, you could collect the keys, and you own beautiful, bright and new development. Why are we buying off plan? What is the idea behind buying in such an early stage when most of the time you cannot even see anything. It's like we used to say, a hole in the ground, or not even a hole, just something where the grass is growing. So first of all, if you buy off-plan property, it's brand new property, and some people just love it. They don't want to live in an old property where other people lived before. So for that, for them it's an ideal situation to buy off-plan, brand new property. Usually, it doesn't need any additional work. I mean, you can take the property, take over property in the developer stage, but usually they are completely finished. The bathroom is in place, the kitchen is in place, carpets, walls are painted, everything is nice and bright and new. Some developers even supply the flats with furniture. You could order a basic set or deluxe set of furniture, and you could basically, in the moment when you collect the keys, you could move in day one. Also remember that if you buy a new property, you have 10 years of guarantee. Second reason why we are buying off-plan is that the purchase itself is slightly easier and more straightforward than if we're buying from free market, because developer is usually taking care of the entire process. You don't have to do the searches on the property because it's all done by developer in advance. Also, they taking care of management company. They even sometimes offer you the process of finding tenants if it's supposed to be a rental property. So they taking care of almost everything what could be taken care of, which makes the entire thing just easier and faster. The third thing, if you're buying off plan, and this is the main reason I think why we're doing it, is that we could use time leverage. What exactly does it mean? At the growing market, the purchase price is usually lower than the price in the moment of completion. How does it look like? Imagine that you're buying a property for £100,000. You put 10% deposit, which means you basically invest £10,000 of cash. If you have to wait, let's say, 2 years for the completion of the property, let's say that the value of the property increase as 5%. It means that in moment when you complete on the purchase, that your property wouldn't be where you agreed to pay £100,000. Now it's worth £110,000, over £110,000, which means you've already made £10,000, which is 100% of your investment return, from your investment return. I know it sounds funny, and it's only theoretical because you don't really gain anything if you don't sell the property. But there are also people who use this as their own strategy as their strategy. I mean, they buy off plan. They put 10% of deposit and they sell the property right before the completion. So they take all what they've gained and just sell it to someone else. In this case, they only put the cash of deposit, nothing else. As I said, it works very well at the growing market. Also, you have to remember, if you buy off-market property, that there are some off-plan, property, that there are also some negatives which keeps some of the investors away from this strategy, including, to be honest, myself. So first of all, if the market crash between exchange and completion, then there would be a risk. There is a risk that you wouldn't be able to raise finance to complete on the purchase. I don't have to tell you, because I think you can guess by yourself, that if the market crash and the value of the property goes down, all the lenders, even if they promise you the mortgage before, they will withdraw their offers, and you have to be ready to pay cash on the property And you probably understand that in a situation of crash, it's great to buy cash, but you will have to wait a moment, sometimes couple months, sometimes even years, until the market recover and you will be able to remortgage such a property. Second thing, remember that your situation could change, your financial situation, your credit score could go down, something could happen to in your family. Sometimes there are good things, you know, like, I don't know, if you, for example, you got a triplet and one of the parents have to resign of work and stay home with kids. So it would definitely influence your financial situation. So you always have to keep it in mind. The third thing is that the developer could go bankrupt. And in this case, if your deposit is not protected, then you can lose your deposit. How to prevent yourself from going into business with plain scammers or just the people who don't have enough experience, or they don't have experience they claim they have. So you have to do the proper research on the developer. If this is a big developer, look at his previous projects. You probably find everything online. There are not too many big developers in this country. I mean, you're still looking for particular company, but you know what I mean. If you Google their name, you probably find their previous projects. If this is a smaller company and you cannot find their projects online, just ask them for their portfolio. Especially if this is a local company, you probably know their developments because you just live around. You could always go and take a look at them. And of course, Google, all the information you can find online are always valuable. I would rather advise you to stay with bigger developers than with smaller, because remember that if the company is small and appeared at the market recently, it could also very fast disappear from the market, and you could be stuck in a situation when you put your deposit and the developer just doesn't exist anymore. You cannot find him anywhere. The third and fourth, actually, a part of your research is just go to Companies House website. This is the website which provide informations about limited companies. Google the name of no, sorry, not Google. Go to at the website of Companies House. Look for the name of the company and check the names of directors. If you click on the name of directors, the system will show you the previous companies where they've been directors, and you could check their history. Because it could happen that you find out that someone was now it's an active director in the company you want to buy the property from, while some time ago he was director in two other companies, which ends up with a negative financial situation or went bankrupt. So if someone was a director in such a company which been bankrupt before, or even two times, there is a very high risk, I think, that something similar happened to his third company. So be careful about it. Also, at the fourth point, the Companies House, you can check the financial statements of the current company, the previous companies of the same directors. It will also give you some informations and impression about the financial abilities of these people. How could you be sure that your money, your deposit, is legally protected? So there are two options how the deposit should be protected. First of all, it should be put to a so-called escrow bank account, which is a personal, the client's account, and the developer cannot touch the money on this account. This is a protection for the client. And the second option is the guarantee for the deposit, and the guarantee should be insured back, for example, by NHBC. Sorry. I have my notes because I don't want to misdirect you in any point. So NHBC is the company which specializes in such of insurances or protections. Remember, don't put more than 10% of deposit, because as long as I'm aware, The government schemes, they only protect your deposit until 10%. So if you put 12% and something happens to the developer, you could definitely get back your 10%, but you could be in trouble to get back your further 2%. And the third aspect, the third thing, never use the solicitor recommended by the developer, because remember that despite of the fact that you pay for them, they are working for the developer. So in a case of misunderstanding or something, if something won't be clear, they would rather stay on the side of the developer because he pays them more than you. So always expect everything in writing, everything on paper. Just even if you have a phone call from someone, it doesn't matter, developer or solicitor or whoever, if you want to have 100%, if you want to be 100% sure that they gave you the right information, just later type everything down and send them an email with confirmation. Remember, due diligence is very important in each part of each strategy, especially important in buying off plan, because the risk is basically extended in time. How to protect yourself against yourself. What could happen to you that put the entire transaction in risk? Remember that, as I mentioned, something could happen to your financial situation, like you could lose your job. I don't know. You could be in a situation when you have to buy another property. So plenty things could happen, and which means that you would not be able to get a mortgage for the property at the completion. So first of all, you have to have plan B. So best plan B is to have enough cash on your bank account, but also if you have ability to raise the money from private investors, for example, you would also be on the safe side, and you don't have to worry if you get a mortgage from big lender or not, if you're always capable to raise the money elsewhere. Discuss all the options with your broker, and in the situation when you would rely on the mortgage and the broker is only giving you one or two options in your current financial situation, then rather be cautious, because it means that in a situation when you, in 2 years' time, or whichever time it takes to completion, something could change and the lender could easily withdraw. If you buy the property from the open market and you have only 2 lenders available, then you go to one. If you get the mortgage, you just buy the property. If you want get the mortgage from the first lender, you go to the second one, and usually the second one is fine, because sometimes they have different criteria. But and the worst scenario is that if you want to get the mortgage from the second lender, you just go away from the purchase. But in off-plan property, when you already exchange the contracts, remember you're obligated to buy this property, so you have to have finance in the moment of completion. How to protect yourself against the property. I know it sounds funny, but it's not that funny at all when you're stuck in such a property which is unmortgageable. I know it's difficult to believe that brand new and beautiful property is unmortgageable, but actually it could happen. Remember that first of all, there are some some new rules about the safety. Sorry, I forgot how it's called. The new rules about safety of the building, of the especially insulation, but it's usually a problem for the older properties. But remember that lender could expect from you a certificate for the building. The second thing is that some lenders do not won't mortgage the property if there is already more than 50% of buy-to-let mortgages on this building. which means that they trying to keep the balance between homeowners and the living owners and tenants. So if there is already more than 50% of flats in the development with buy-to-let mortgages on them, it could be difficult for you to raise the similar mortgage. Of course, if you want to live in this property, it's completely different story. And another thing I came across recently, it's a real story of one of a friend of mine who couldn't raise a mortgage because the lender wasn't happy with the management costs, and apparently there was an issue with the ground rent. The lender decided the ground rent on the property is too high for him, and he withdrew his mortgage offer. I think this friend of mine is eventually buying cash, but you have to have plan B for whatever happens. Another very important thing is that if you buy the property off plan, plenty of lenders advertise them as properties on sale or with a discount. So you have to really validate this discount because it could be only the advertisement, nothing else. So check Rightmove and Zoopla on the Market Prime location, whatever you find, any website you find, and check the prices of the similar properties currently offer for sale, but also check the prices of the property which has been sold recently, because you're probably aware it could be quite a big discrepancy between the asking price and the selling price eventually, but it will give you a flavor, an opinion of what the real value of the property in this location is or will be. And also don't hesitate to contact local agent. Usually they are very helpful, and they will give you estimated value of the property in this location. Very important thing is to avoid the overheated market. As I told you, buying off plan is a very good strategy when the market is growing. But if the market is already overheated, people buying like crazy, it's difficult to find anything to buy. If the price is already high and they're still growing, it means that market is overheated, and in my opinion, it's a warning before the crash. So the worst thing that could happen, as I mentioned before, is when crash happens between your exchange and completion, because then you really have to think what to do, and you would be in real trouble. So this is most of the thing I wanted to share with you. I don't want, maybe I encourage someone to going for off-plan properties. Maybe I discourage other people. I forgot to mention there's one more thing, because buying off plan means basically buying from developer. So of course it could be a strategy for the investors, but also plenty of people who buying their first property, who are first-time buyers, but they want to use the government scheme Help to Buy. I don't know how it works now, but it used to work before pandemic, and probably it will come back later. If they are first-time buyer and they want to use the scheme Help to Buy, which they only have to pay 5% of deposit, but they have to purchase the new property. So of course some of them would also be buying off plan. So these people also have to do all the proper due diligence I just mentioned. So summarizing, is buying off plan good or bad idea? I think, like all strategies, it has some positives and negatives, and it only depends on you. On your experience, how long you're at the market, if you like this property, if you like this strategy, if you're convinced that it works, if you are ready to do the proper due diligence, if you're resistant to finance trouble, if you are able to dealing with issues, then it's definitely strategy for you. How could you protect yourself against unexperienced developer? Check his case history, check his financial statements in company's house, check the the director's personal history. Be sure your deposit is protected. If you find something dodgy in the company, just run away from them. because in my opinion, if your potential business partner, and the developer would be your business partner for a while, if he's dishonest, it's very difficult to protect yourself against dishonest people. If someone wants to scam you, they will do it, so the only option is just to stay away from them. This is all I wanted to tell you today. It's beautiful Sunday, so buying pros and cons for buying off-plan properties. All my movies, I think it's over 20 now, you find on my YouTube channel, which is called Fair House Investments, like my company. I'm Małgorzata Kurzępa, founder and director of Fair House Investments, with almost 10 years of experience now. I'm buying properties, usually single lets, and I let them to tenants. I always invest outside London. So I live in London and I invest outside. So part of my strategy is to building a power team and building my team, which is helping me on site. So if you want to know, and recently I also started to sharing my knowledge. So I started like at the educational part of my company. So if you're interested in my offer, go to YouTube channel Fair House Investments. You will find all my movies there. I'm not selling anything there. It's just, pure knowledge about properties or investing in properties. I wish you a wonderful Sunday, and I hope I will see you soon at another video. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.